hello. The first Crusade Battle of 10th edition is under my belt. It went pretty well. I think the rules were okay. There was maybe some stuff going on there when I moved one commissar to another unit, but I'm going to let that happen. This is for fun. The Cadian won, which is great. Now I'm going to get into the meat and potatoes of Crusade narrative play. To help me out too, I have a couple of Joy Toy guardsmen here with me, some Cadians. So I got the standard bearer and one of the veterans. I'm also going to be splicing to the cards that I'm talking about while we move through. The Crusade Force documents, as I stated earlier, for all of the stuff that I have on the screen is available through Warhammer Community for free. So you guys can either download the PDF, print it off. I know for intellectual property, they don't want you making any money off of it or sending it out as a mass publication. But I think this should be okay since I'm just uploading it. I was also a shareholder in Games Workshop, no longer, but I was at one time. They did very well for me, so I'm hoping as well that might kind of keep me immune. We'll see what happens. All right, so right off the bat, I'm going to bring up the 555th Cadian Charlie Company sheet again. So this force was 995 points, so 5 points underneath the maximum 1,000 supply limit to start off. Right off the bat in the top right corner, we're going to change the 5 requisitioning points to 6 because you get a requisition point every time you play a battle, whether you win, lose, draw, whatever it might be. So we're up to 6 now. That translates into 200 supply limit points per requisition point. So that would be 200 times 6, so that would be 1,200. So I could bring in 1,200 points of models and have them added to my army. Homer's also going to be popping around. He's just down here underneath. He's weirded out sometimes when I'm talking to the camera, I guess, and he's a little bit more hyper today, so he's cutting around. But yeah, so 1,200 points would be allowed to add. The big thing is you need those requisitioning points to also do the battle scar removal. So we're going to get into battle scars in a little bit because I lost a lot of units during the Crusade battle that we just did. The videos as well, I'm not going to do this for every single post-battle, after action reports. I'm going to be doing this more in depth for this one, and then in the future, you're just going to see me update my cards. So I'll try to refer back to this episode, which is going to be episode 7. The battle report we just did for the Crusade is episode 6, and then before that was episode 5, which is kind of how I set up my Crusade. And you got to see the original roster and loadout for those groups. Also, if you are a Cadian collector or Imperial Guard, you'll kind of have an idea as to what those models can do, what kind of models they can go up against. I also know from my battle that after I lost my 2 Hellhound tanks, I really need to get better armor penetration. Imperial Guard, Cadian don't really have too much, maybe hand-to-hand, so we'll see how many requisitioning points I have after I use my battle scars. I have a lot of extra units, so I still have Lord Solar Leontis, I have Ursula Creed, I have multiple Cadian 10-person sections, I have 2 Rogel Dorn tanks, I have 2 Baneblade chassis tanks, so one is it's got the massive Vulcan cannons on it. Those are very expensive point-wise though, so that might be way down later in the campaign. And then I have Ogrins, I have Ratlings. Talking about Ratlings, I just saw the new models get dropped there that should be out in around Christmas time, I believe. I'm probably not going to add any Ratlings to my army until those come out, or maybe I'll add the original pewter models and then swap them out because those models are really cool. Anyways, back to this. So the 555th Cadian Charlie Company, we've added our requisition points in the top right on the Crusade Force sheet, and now we're going to get into each unit and what happened to them. So this is super important to go through and make sure you mark after every turn when something happens. I think I got everything, but I'm always worried I missed something. So if I've missed an enemy unit that's been destroyed, it's going to affect the experience. So I want to make sure as I move through the battle, I keep going back to my Crusade unit cards and updating them. So we're going to start off with Castellan Cage. His sheet is up right now. We'll fill in the experience and everything after the fact. I just want to go through what each of them did. So in the battles played, he has now played 1 battle. He has survived 1 battle, and he destroyed 1 enemy unit during that battle. The Commissar, Minumun Ra, or Minumun I think he was just Commissar Minamoon, I called him. He played one battle. He survived one battle, but there was no enemy units destroyed by him, so that's going to remain as a blank right now. We'll get to the other parts of the sheets in a sec as we go through. My command squad had one battle played. They did not survive the battle, so I'm going to have to issue them a battle scar, and we're going to do that in steps. So I think I'll probably move to battle scars after, and we'll see how we roll for that, because everything is based on a d6 roll to see what has occurred with the battle scar. Preacher Uriah, he played one battle, he survived one battle, and he did not destroy enemy units. My Khazarkan Sharkar's own, they played the one battle, they did not survive, but they destroyed 2 enemy units. So usually you're going to want to give your higher honors to, we'll get to that as well, but to units that have done a lot of kills or you think were all-stars in your fight. I know my Hellhounds did really well, but also my Castellan was in there, you know, buffing out that unit he was attached to, and they did very well. So I might give it to him, but we'll see what we do throughout and what kind of upgrades I can get with that, if any. The Khazarkan Tigers, these guys were pretty good all-stars. So they played the battle, they survived the battle, and they destroyed 1 enemy unit. So that's point Khazarkan there. My one section led by Sergeant Sarank. One section played one battle. These guys were eliminated almost right away during that first ambush. So that's 0 battles survived. I'm going to have to give them a battle scar. 2 section led by Sergeant Dakota. They were the one that was attached to the Preacher the whole time. They did pretty well. They went through the entire battle with only 2 of them remaining, kind of hobbling along behind the convoy to make sure nothing came out from the 6. So battles played 1, battles survived 1, and then enemy units destroyed was 0. But they were there the whole time. 3 section led by Sergeant Apone. They played the one battle. They got in there pretty good, but they were wiped out pretty quick as well. So 0 battles survived. 4 section, these, I don't remember the sergeant's name in that squad, but I have a 7 marked on their base, so I just made that note. So when I do pull them back out of my cabinet for the next campaign, I know that 7 was marked on their base. And they played one battle, they survived one battle, and they actually destroyed an enemy unit as well. So that's great for a 10-person, Cadian shock troop section. Sentinel A had the plasma cannon, and it had 1 battle played, 0 battles survived, so it was destroyed, and it didn't have enemy units destroyed. My Sentinel Bravo, which had the grenade launcher, pretty good as well. It had the 1 battle played, 1 battle survived, and it destroyed 1 battle unit. I didn't have that marked down because it's the one that I think took out the Screamer Killer. So that was at the very end. It had been a long battle yesterday too, so I probably didn't mark that down, but that's one of those kills. I know the Cargo 8 Ridge Haul, that was just the extra like civilian model in there that was transporting the bioform. It got a kill as well, or maybe even 2 for the units, but it doesn't count towards my Cadian. So it's good that those enemy units were destroyed, but I don't get any points or any experience for that. On to my Hellhounds, which are my last units on my Crusade unit list here. So Hellhound Cerberus, I called it, had the heavy flamer on it. It's good to make sure that you define which one is as well, so you're not giving incorrect points or battle honors to different vehicles that maybe didn't earn it if they're the same. So 1 battle played, 0 battles survived, but it did destroy 1 enemy unit. And then this one may be my all-star for the game. It was my Hellhound. I titled it the Imp, and it had the Heavy Bolter as its secondary weapon. 1 battle played, 0 battles survived, and 2 enemy units destroyed. So it's going to be a toss-up. There was 2 units that killed 2 enemies, and I'm going to be giving them the highest honor that I can for this battle. And we're going to see if that affects how they perform in the future. So, you know, those Hellhounds, they did it my entire last 9th edition Crusade. Great little tanks. I think I'm going to need a little bit more punch, though. The Melta Cannon is pretty good, but it has a D3, so I'd like something that's got a little bit more firepower, and that might come in the form of a Rogel Dorn. So we're going to see what kind of points I have. In this next battle that's coming up, though, against the Genestealer Cultist, they're a little bit of a lighter armored army. They're very similar to Cadian, but they do have some super strong models, so having that additional toughness or maybe hand-to-hand combat skill where I can get kind of dug in against enemies will help out, but we'll see what happens. So with all of those kind of recaps done, I'm going to now move to the battle scars. I'm gonna have to go grab a D6 because I need to roll for that. So I will be right back and we'll start recording again. All right, so we're gonna start tallying up these battle scars and see what's happened to these units. I'm just going to count these really quick. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 battle scars and 6 requisition points. So I think I'm probably going to use 3 requisition points to remove the battle scars. We'll see how bad they are. So I'm just going to read quickly kind of what they are and what happens. So each time a unit gains a battle scar, either roll 1d6 and consult the table on page 14, and that's of the Crusade documents here, to randomly determine which battle scar that unit has gained, or choose the battle scar that you think tells the best narrative to the battle you just played. So there can be more than one battle scar given to a unit, but it can't be the same one. So as they start to stack on, it's going to really affect the playability of that unit. So I'm going to see what we're looking at in regards. So if I roll 1, it's called crippling damage. The unit cannot advance, and you must subtract 1 inch from the move characteristic of models in that unit. So not too bad. Battle weary. Each time this unit takes a battle shock, leadership, desperate escape, or out of action test, subtract 1 from that test. I don't use morale tests, so that's not going to be used. Fatigued. Subtract 1 from the objective control. There may be some objective control meeting battles later in the campaign, so that is one that might work. So subtract 1 from the objective control characteristic of models in this unit, and this unit never receives a charge bonus. Disgraced. You cannot use any stratagems to affect this unit, and this unit cannot be marked for greatness. That's not great, so don't want that one. Mark of Shame. This unit cannot form an attached unit. It is unaffected by the aura abilities of friendly units, and it cannot be marked for greatness. That's another really bad one. I'm just hoping in time, like I can I'm going to be designated these battle scars. It's probably going to be the crippling damage first, as it's not as severe. But if more units start to get battle scarred, it's going to add up. And then the last one, deep scars. So this is on the roll of a 6. Each time a critical hit is scored against this unit, that attack automatically wounds this unit. So not good either. So for the command squad, they did have they were slain in this battle. So I'm going to be putting in the battle scar box, and I'm going to bring this up on the screen for you guys. This is going to be crippling damage. So I'm going to put that in. And I'm putting it on my paper hard documents, as this is how I'm going to follow this. Also, always use a pencil. Don't use a pen, because then you're just going to be whiting out a bunch of stuff. So you can at least erase the pencil, which is great. So crippling damage, and that's going to be minus 1 inch to move. I'll make that note here so it's easy for myself. The command squad, I am going to keep that battle scar on them. I'm going to be using those requisitioning points for my higher units to remove the battle scar. Okay, so I just found this here, and this is the 1 to 5 requisitioning points. So what happens here is purchase this requisition after battle. Select 1 unit from your order of battle that has 1 or more battle scars. Select one of that unit's battle scars and remove it from its Crusade card. For each battle scar removed, that unit's Crusade points will increase by 1. We're not using Crusade points. So this requisition costs 1 RP. That's 1 requisition point plus 1 additional RP for each battle honor. So that's why I said that this is a really good time to do it, because nobody has really received any battle honors yet. So what I'm going to do is I will be using one of my requisition points to remove the battle scar from my Kazarkin, Sharkgar's own, because I want them in the fight. So I'm going to mark that on their card, and then in the top corner, right corner of my Crusade Force card, I'm moving from 6 requisition points to 5. I don't want them to be slower. I don't want them to have any handicaps against them. So my Kazarkin have been taken care of. Section 1, one section which is led by Sergeant Saronk. I am going to have a battle honor applied to them, and it's going to be the same thing. So I'm going to be doing the crippling damage. Just going to go back to that to make sure I've titled it properly. Okay, so I'm back. So crippling damage for them. So it's going to be crippling damage, and that's going to be minus 1 inch to move. So I'm marking that on there. And that's going to be attached to them, so I can keep my requisition point for that. Sergeant Apone in 3 section, I'm going to do the same thing. Sorry sections, but you're sort of my weakest models, so I'm going to be putting the crippling damage on that as well. And when I post these up on the screen, like for future battles, I'm going to refer back to my sheets here, and you're just going to see that populate. And then I'll add whatever else has come in from that battle, probably in like red text, to make sure you can see what's going on there. So that has also affected 3 sections. So they have minus 1 inch of movement. So they usually have 6 inch move, and then their move would make them go 9 inches. So that's going to be 5 inches now, and move will be 8 inches. Sentinel A, I am going to remove the battle scar from that because that has my plasma cannon. It didn't do great in this battle, but at the end it was starting to kind of chug along, so I want to have that capability as one of my higher armor penetrating weapons. So on my force card, we're down to 4 requisition points now, which is 800 points of models if I want to bring them in. If I have both of my Hellhound tanks, I'm going to give the crippling damage to my Hellhound Cerberus, which had the heavy flamer. And that's just because it didn't kill as many enemy units. So I'm going to do crippling damage for that as well. And it's going to be reduced by minus 1 inch for movement. And then for my Hellhound Imp, which is my heavy bolter tank, I am going to use a requisitioning point to remove that battle scar because it did have the 2 kills, and I am down to 3 requisitioning points, which is a total of 600 supply limit points. So that's all done, and next we're going to move into experience and giving some honors and things to the units that did well in the battle and had the most kills, or whoever I want to give it to. Okay, so now that the battle scars are all done, kind of the negative Nancy of Crusade, we're going to move into experience, which is how my models are going to start to level up and the units that are attached to them. No one after this battle is going to get any crazy upgrade if it's, to armor or weapons or anything, but we are going to calculate their experience. So I'm going to move to Castellan Cage's card again. And the way that this works, you'll see it, the shield shaped form that's on the card has a sword that is just like an outline, and then a sword with the iron cross kind of thing behind it, sword with iron cross and skull, and then sword with skull and like a big star that's pointed. That's as you move through. You're going to, as per the experience that's been given to someone, when you move up those ranks, that's when you start to get your battle honors and souped up weapons and all that stuff. So the way that this works, and again, this is available on the Warhammer community site, every single unit that was involved in the battle gets 1 experience point. So I'm going to go through each card and we're going to add up that experience. Dealers of Death is an additional 1 experience point, and that's for anyone that did a 3rd enemy unit destruction. So no one in this battle had 3. One of my Hellhounds was very close, but it could not finish off that Screamer Killer. It would have had 3 if it had kept going. The max is 2 in this one, and then the final experience point gift that you can give a unit is marked for greatness. So that's up to the player, the commander of the army, and that states at the end of the battle you can select 1 unit with a Crusade card that was part of your Crusade army for that battle. That unit gains 3 experience, so that's just a gimme. So what we're going to do here is I'm on Castellan Cards Cage. We're going to do the same on the Commissar Munimun's as well. So in the shield icon or a shield form, I'm going to put 1 experience. The Commissar is also going to have 1 experience because he went through the battle. Both of them did. And this is, if they died or not, they're still getting an experience point. So it's kind of like your RP points. You get one at the end of the battle no matter what, and that allows you to soup up your force because you don't know what you're going to be taking on. So it gives you a chance to have them level up in the future or be able to get more supply, things like this. So Castle and Cage and the Commissar both have their experience done. I'm moving over to my command squad, so they're going to have 1 experience. Preacher Uriah is also going to have experience. Both of these units did not destroy any enemy units, so there's no chance of them getting that Dealers of Death, but they did get the 1 experience. That's kind of a gimme. Kazarkin's Sharkar's Own, they had 2 enemy units destroyed, so they're close to that 2nd experience point, but they couldn't finish it off. I know that they were blasting away that Screamer Killer 2, and then they were finished by it, but they tried, so 1 experience for them. Kazarkin Tigers is going to be 1 experience. My 1 section, 1 experience. 2 section is going to be 1 experience. I probably won't put each card up on the screen. You guys get the idea. I'm filling in 1 point for the experience. There's going to be Sergeant Apone's 3 section, and then 4 section also gets experience. The Sentinel both get experience. So Sentinel Alpha, Sentinel Bravo. And then this is where I'm probably going to be doing my Marked for Greatness, because that Hellhound Imp with the Heavy Bolter had 2 enemy units destroyed. They made it all the way from, I believe they were at the back of the convoy, all the way up to the front, and we're still blasting away with that Screamer Killer at the end. So that's who's going to be my Marked for Greatness. So I'll pop that card up. So Hellhound Cerberus with Heavy Flamer is going to get that 1 experience as just the gimme. And then the Hellhound titled Imp with that Heavy Bolter is going to get 1, 2, 3, 4 experience. So that's 1 experience for the battle. It was Marked for Greatness by myself, which gives it 4 experience total. And it's very close to that next level up. So when it gets to that level up, I'm going to be able to give it some pretty great stuff. The thing is, I'm going to be using generalized Crusade upgrades. The Astra Militarum Codex is not out yet, and that's where you're going to see some of the cool artifacts. Like I know in 9th edition there was like an Artificer bolt pistol that I gave to my Castellan, which had like more attacks, more penetration. It was great. He was able to actually kill some pretty good Chaos models with it. With your tanks, you can like upgrade the armor. So I'm going to be using just kind of generalized Crusade here. If that Codex drops before the end of my Crusade, I think it's planned for sometime early in the new year, I'm hoping, in 2025. I might start to add some of those abilities and upgrades to my tanks, to my guys. I guess I could pull out the 9th edition Codex and do that. I think that's part of the rules, but just to keep this generic and good for everyone's learning, I'm going to go off of what's available to all of us. But yeah, that Hellhound Imp has 4 experience points. On its 5th, it moves to the 1st level of battle honors, and it can get hopefully some sweet stuff. So I'm going to now look in my cabinet of Astra Militarum. I have, just back to my sheet here to make sure I'm not messing that up, I still have 3 requisitioning points, which is 600 points for my supply limit. So I'm going to check my app, see what I can purchase. This is kind of like being at Midway and you've got all those tickets and you want to see if you can get some candy or a plush or something like that. So I'm going to go into my cabinet, see what I can pull out. I really have to think about my next battle. I don't think it's going to be too crazy for armor penetration. Hand-to-hand might be an issue though, because there's some really good Gene Stealer models. As we saw, the Pure Strain Gene Stealers are insane in hand-to-hand, so maybe some Ogrins. I don't think I'm going to bring in another Commander yet. That might come in the next stage. And the great thing about Ursula Creed, and I have Lord Solar Leontis as well, is they can actually buff out a unit with Ursula has 2 orders that she can give, and Leontis can give 3 orders. So if he's attached to a Kasserkin group, you can do like take aim, fix bayonets, and first rank fire, second rank fire, and then they're just going to be like going crazy with those special weapons. But I want them to have some battle honors before I start doing that, so they also have better weapon skill already, better ballistic skill, maybe better armor. So I'm going to wait out till later in the Crusade to add in the commands. But this time around, I'm going to see if I have enough points. I might bring in my first Rogel Dorn battle tank because I want more armor penetration and better blast weaponry. I have 2 of those as well, so we'll see which one I bring in. And then I'm probably going to bring in my Ogren to make sure that I have some hand-to-hand combat attacks. So when I come back, I'm just going to cut. I'll have them right out front here to see, show you guys who I've added in. I'm just hoping I have enough points with 600, so we'll see how that goes. All right. Ta-da! The magic of editing. So 600 points in 10th edition gets you a lot, which is, I didn't know that I'd be able to afford this much. So we have 2 Rogel Dorns that are going to be added. Symmetry is important. So I have 2 Rogel Dorn that are coming in at 240 points each. I have an Ogren squad that's coming in at 60. They're going to be kind of lined up with my Sentinels, so I can have my Sentinels on one side, my Ogren on the other. They're pretty good models for shooting, okay. Strength 5, I think, from their Ripper guns, but their hand-to-hand is fantastic. So against those Gene Stealers that I'm going to be taking on next, I think it was a good addition. I'm hoping that they can do some damage to the Aberrants and things that are a little bit stronger for the Gene Stealers. And then I've also added a Psyker, Primaris Psyker. She was 60 points, so that totals out now my army to 1,595 points. My requisitioning points are down to 0. Not always the best idea. It's always, sometimes good to keep 1 or 2 just in case. So I'm going to bring up my card on the screen, show you those additions. So Ogren Squad, 60 points, Rogel Dorn Battle Tank, 240, Rogel Dorn Battle Tank, 240, and the Primaris Psyker at 60, 0 requisitioning points. So I need to get 1 back at the end of this next battle. And then from there, I'll see if units are battle scarred. Those battle scars are going to start to add up too. So I use 3 requisitioning points to remove it from some of my stronger units. But some of my Cadian sections, as well as, mostly my Cadian sections, are going to start to have those add up on them. So next time around, I'm not sure if I'll use that requisitioning point to add another 200 supply limit and maybe bring in more Cadian. I have heavy weapons. I have the ordnance batteries if I want to use some artillery pieces. But I got to cool it down. Like the Gene Stealers, I'm hoping I don't want to say it's going to be a pushover battle. I'm going to make it still pretty strategic, and the Gene Stealers are going to have a very good chance at that battle. But with 0 requisition points, I don't have much to fall back on. So we'll see how it goes. Thank you guys again so much for watching. The episode before this was the actual Crusade battle, which was Tyranid versus the Cadian. The Cadian pulled off a very close win. It was almost a loss for them. There's a few times I thought that they were for sure going to lose. Those battle, the experience that they received from that battle is why I was able to purchase this. So we're going to see what the 555th Cadian Charlie Company, now almost, I would say, Charlie Regiment, is going to be doing for next. But yeah, stay tuned. Next one is going to be these guys, my Cadian versus Gene Stealer Cultists in kind of a Black Hawk Down scenario in the middle of a city. So just to give you guys a little maybe trailer on that, it's going to be a very high-powered Psyker that was trying to escape to a safer location. So he was in a city within a planet. And he has a psychic barrier that's kind of over the roof of that planet to make sure that the Tyranid messages can't get out. This isn't really part of lore or 100% accurate, but that's what I'm doing for this. So, it's like a navigator level Psyker that is blocking any signals coming from the Patriarch or the Broodlord up to the Tyranid swarm to have them come down to the planet. So maybe this is another prequel battle to... That would mean that they lose, though. I was going to say the Utabuta planet, but we'll do this as a different planet this time. And what's happened is he's moving from an unsafe location to a safe location in his Arvis lighter, and it gets shot down by Tyranid, and it lands in the middle of the city. There's going to be Gene Stealer cultists all around it, a certain amount of inches away. They're going to be coming in to try to swarm and kill that Psyker. And then the Cadian have been brought in at different points of the city to roll in and try to protect that Psyker. The Psyker is also going to have a small unit around him, maybe 10, 20 models. I don't know who I'm going to use yet. I was thinking maybe I might use like the Imperium naval models that have like the blue uniforms, because they have void armor, which is a little bit better, so they might be able to hold up for some of those turns. So I might bring them in as the force for protection there. And I'll see though. I'll see what I want to do because I've got a couple other civilian forces too. I have the Inquisitorial Henchmen, which would be kind of cool as well because they have different weapon arraignments and stuff. And what's going to happen is that's going to be a set amount of turns. So he's using, like, he's injured because he's just been in a crash, but he's using all of his power to keep that, you know, psychic shield up to block any messages coming from Genestealer to Tyrannid, but he also has a personal shield around him, so no Genestealer units are going to be able to penetrate that shield until a certain amount of moves in or turns in. So like 6 or 7 again is usually what I like to do. So after the 6th or 7th turn, that personal shield is going to fall down because he's injured and he's getting weak, while trying to keep that main shield up. And at that point, if the Cadian haven't come in and either got him extracted or defended well, he's going to be killed, and that will be a loss to my Crusade force. If they, however, protect him, and the 7th turn ends with, I don't know, a certain amount of Cadian models around him maybe, or a certain amount of strength models around him, they're able to repel, and we'll have, you know, a ship come in and pull him out to safety. So that's my plan for this next battle. I'm still working it through. It should be really cool though, based off of Black Hawk Down. And I can't wait to get that one going. Don't know when it's going to be. Halloween is almost here, so yeah, happy Halloween to everybody. Next weekend I'm actually shooting a Star Trek original series fan film, so it's going to be based off of the USS Constellation, which was Commodore Decker's ship. You guys can check that out on www.finniganproductions.ca. And also my other works on there that I've done with my brother in the past, and a bunch of our friends like Matt and Mark and Steve, and my wife Lindsay's helped out, and just tons of help from family and friends throughout the years. So if you guys want to check that out, it's all free entertainment, so you guys can check it on YouTube. One of our movies, Need to Feed, which is probably our best selling to date, is rentable through Prime, so you can go through Amazon. I think it's like $1.99 to rent it. It's pretty good. It's kind of like I don't know, kind of like Are You Afraid of the Dark-ish, but it's like a black comedy. The Wendigo's the main bad creature in it. It's a really good film. I shot that back in like, oh my gosh, '05 I think. But there's tons of stuff on there. Prime Instinct is like Resident Evil. We have a Silent Hill fan film that I mentioned last time with Silent Hill 2 out. I've been playing that. It's been phenomenal. And of course, this is, you know, Space Marine 2 has gotten me back into this. So I've been collecting this since 1997. You guys have probably seen some old school models like Uriah Jacobus. And just being able to finally get this out to you and show you just a passion that I've had since 1997, almost 30 years of Warhammer collecting, has been phenomenal. So thank you guys so much for watching. Crusade number 2 is coming up. Cadian versus Genestealer cultists. We'll see if they can pull off another win. And if not, oof, those battle scars are going to be adding up, and I don't have any requisition points right now to help. So yeah, good luck, Cadian. Thank you guys again, and I'll see you when I get that next video posted. This one might actually be in November. We'll see. The next one might be like early to mid-November. But yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.